This is your mom's favorite show, Beer and Chill podcast. My name is Jan,
And I'm Craig.
and we would really appreciate if you would stop by and listen to our show. We are talking about interesting facts about your favorite movies, games, and TV shows.
For example, did you know that Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen had a real-life beef because Christopher Lee wanted to play Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?
And many other great facts.
We hope you check us out and enjoy the rest of your show. Bye-bye.
What's your favorite scary movie?
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
They're here.
Welcome, victims, to the Horr-Gasm podcast. Kill the lights, lock the doors, get comfy, and prepare for the sexiest and scariest podcast around. I'm Nick, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Allie.
Oogity boogity boo.
Oh, caboose.
All the scars.
Oh, it's October.
I'm so
I'm
happy.
happy. I like it.
Where are we at right now in October, podcast-wise? We're mid-October now at this point, right?
Yes, we are. I think,
Mid-ish October.
second
After
week.
Canadian Thanksgiving-ish, right? Is when we're coming out.
This one is
I'm
that week.
coming
This is
out.
the week of, I think, Canadian Thanksgiving.
Woo!
I think.
Man, yeah, so we're like
Yes.
into the spooky
No.
scares, we're
I don't
into
know.
the creepy kookies. Ugh, I love it. It's my favorite time of year. I think it's because my birthday's in fall. And so I just like, fall's always a happy time for me. And like, we live in an area of the city where it's like, tons of leaves and trees. So it's very
Crunchy leaves.
crunchy leaves.
And
Like
they're
even
pretty.
looking
I
out the
always
window
liked-
right now.
I always like just nice colored leaves that are changing
Yes.
color, and I always like that.
Ugh, and it's nice to just go for nice long walks,
Mm-hmm.
and the air just smells like crisp, and
It's not
ugh.
hot. It's nice and
And
mild.
it's not like Canada cold yet.
Nope. It's getting there.
Ugh, but it's nice. Yeah, I don't know. I love this time of year.
Another good thing about October is on YouTube, Cinemassacre. They-
Oh,
the angry video game nerd. He has his. Well, he used to. He doesn't do it anymore. But he has Cinemassacre's Monster Madness. And every
Fun.
October he would have, I think, either every day or every week, he would release a video review of a monster movie or a horror movie.
fun.
And he's done that for, I think, 5 or 6 years. He's done
Mm-hmm.
that. And the last two, he's kind of stopped. He's doing other stuff now. But he would have like a theme. Like he'd have 80s horror. He would have a Godzilla themed horror one.
Cool.
He had slashers and all that. It was really good. And I know he's kind of now throwing like his best of this year.
Fun.
So victims, go look up. It's Cinemassacre. It's on YouTube, and it'll be Monster Madness. Check them out. They're fun to watch. They have some pretty rare horror movies. Some of you may not have heard of, the classics, and ones that you've probably heard lots of.
Yes, the one you were showing me was Carrie, and that's like the pièce de résistance.
It's one of them. Yeah.
Creepy. It's one of those super creepy movies that everybody sort of knows of. Everybody
Yeah.
knows of Carrie,
Yeah.
Even I've seen it. I saw it on Halloween way back when I was in high school still. And I remember watching it and being like, this is literally the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And now when I watch it, like now, I'm like, eh. But this movie we watched this week, which we talked about a lot last week, The Bridge Curse, this one actually got my heart aflutter, which doesn't happen very often.
No, it was really good.
And these are the types of movies, because it's an Eastern movie, these are the types of movies that really do it for me, with the very thought out pacing and the
Yes.
body movements, the overacting that's like believable. I'm all for, a badass bitch heroine, in a movie, or, a super buff guy who doesn't get scared by anything. But I also like seeing, like, very scared people.
Yes.
Because
there's a
I find
few.
that that's genuine reaction.
There's a few in this, which is really good.
Yes.
And like we've talked about this, I'm going to talk about it again because I'd like to. And
Do it. Do it.
Eastern horror has the ghost trope down perfect.
Yes, it's like a fine science.
Yes, and they know every nook and cranny,
Yes.
every secret. They know how to make it work and
Absolutely.
work well. The only drawback, there's only one. Every ghost design is the same.
Yes.
And that, I think, is what hurts, because this one, I looked at some reviews, like, it's a very generic-looking Asian ghost horror movie.
Yep.
Yes and no. It kind of is, look-wise, but it's got a very own, it's got some neat rules. It's kind of got the cliched, girl is raped and drowned, she's the ghost, whatever. Yep. But the effects, the way it was done, like how things kind of went about, some of the kills, the lead up is just awesome and perfect.
There's so much thought put into it, like I already said. Like, it's just, like, even the movements, like, when, I mean, we're going to start talking about, so a little spoilery here, not really, but when people start to get possessed sort of by this ghost, the movements of it when they're walking towards the other characters is terrifying.
And I took the one part when the girl starts giggling.
Yes.
I instantly thought of Evil Dead.
Yes.
Instantly thought when the girl is in the basement and she does the kind of look up and the giggle. And the shakes, it's the creaks of the body. I'm like, that's Evil Dead. Evil Dead is definitely, it had to be an inspiration for some of the movements of the ghosts.
Like Evil Dead 1, you mean, hey? Like
yes.
Yeah. That one was, obviously we've talked about this before, but Evil Dead 1 was like the creepiest-ish.
It was the most legit horror one.
Yes, I agree.
Number 2 was legit horror, but also it was humorous. They brought in more of the comedy with it. And the third was just a flat-out comedy with
ridiculous,
horror
cheesy.
elements.
Which was good. Like, it worked for what it was. Like, it kind of found its niche and just rolled with it. It didn't care. Yeah. It's like, this is what we are now. Sorry, guys. We're going back to the medieval days and just kind of rolling with that.
Yeah.
Hope you're in for it.
And did you ever watch the TV show Evil Dead?
No. Oh, All of the Way? Like Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Yes.
I watched up to the last few episodes and it started kind of dipping off a bit for me, and I was like, but I'll finish it eventually.
Finish it.
I'll get there. I know. It's also a thing, like, we were talking about Orange is the New Black at work the other day. I've seen every season except the last, because I know it's the last season and I don't want it to end in my brain. My brain doesn't want it to end. It's the same thing with Ash vs. Evil Dead. He's like, yeah, I'm actually done. I don't think I want to do another season. And I'm like, so if I finish the last 2 episodes, that means there's no more. And I don't want there to be no more, so I'm not watching them. And that's how my brain works.
Very good.
So here we are.
Whatever. But I can't say anything really majorly negative about this movie.
Yeah.
I can't.
Right? Like, it's just how they did it is so interesting. It was honestly a breath of fresh air when I watched it the first time. And I didn't even, as you could tell from when we were talking about it after and trying to figure out the story, because the end kind of, I said, kind of turns on its head and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
This has got the good twist, a very, very good twist at the end.
Yes.
But it's also a brain scratcher because...
We had to pull out paper and make, like, charts.
You know the meme of the girl when she's thinking as well as the math equations?
Yes.
That was me.
Yep.
That was me at the end of this movie because I couldn't quite figure out the timeline just right. You go through 3 or 4 different timelines.
Exactly. And the thing...
one says 4. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah. I think because they're doing the throwback of the original ghost being killed.
Yes, I think that was well, even though they said it was like 30 years.
Yes, exactly.
9, 10, 20, now it's still 20.
No, because it comes out in 2020, so 30 years would be 1990.
Oh my god, you're right.
You know I'm 29, right? And I was born in 91, so...
I skipped, I went from 90 to 2010.
Yes.
Oops. And there's me in the meme with the moment in the math in her head again, like,
yes.
Huh? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Timelines and movies and math.
Well, it's confusing. It got confusing to me because and you and me, we're trying to figure out who was in what timeline.
Right. And this is the thing is that, like, because it's not dubbed, it's all subtitles, which is fine, and it does not bother me at all. I actually prefer subtitles, as everybody on here will know, and R.I.P. Tim, because it hurts his heart when I put subtitles on. But when what I was trying, because we looked up before, there's no synopsis, which we always look up, like, a summary or a synopsis so we can...
Wikipedia is our friend.
Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we can't stay on topic to save our lives.
Nope.
So I'm trying to take notes, and I'm trying to take notes and read and listen to whatever else is happening in my house to make sure nothing's on fire or dying. And I'm trying to follow this complicated timeline. And so Nick and I are both looking at each other like, wait, what just happened? And we had to rewind, make charts.
Yep.
Write names down, like, oh my god, it's funny.
And then this is your second time viewing it.
Yes.
You didn't watch past the credits.
Which I never do. Ever.
Bad.
I know.
I was looking at trying to find the cast, because
Yes.
IMDb has only 6 of them. There's not enough there.
Which happens with international movies, I
Yeah.
find, even with animes, like unless it's a very well-known anime, like Attack on Titan or Sword Art Online or something,
Yeah.
there's not as many. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
they have half the cast, and especially because this movie literally just came out a couple weeks ago. I guess at this
August.
point,
It was in August.
yeah,
But
at
still,
this point
it's
it'll
been
be
a couple months, but still.
right.
Yeah, so I'm like, trying to find through the credits the actors and actresses' names, and I noticed a little scene that we missed. I'm like, whoa, what's this? So I call you over like, Alana, we made noops,
Yeah.
and we'll get to the after credits
Obviously.
after the review. But yeah,
Yeah, we don't
It's-
want to drop that big of a spoiler bomb right now.
yeah, but it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And also this I don't think it's inadvertent, but there's a couple scenes in this that are very reminiscent of live events that happen in Vancouver.
Yeah.
There's this it's online. You
Yeah.
can find it if you want. It's this video of this Asian girl who is, there's like the elevator camera.
Mhm.
She's running into the elevator, and she's peeking out, looking around. She's very, very scared and kind of just peeking around.
Right.
And then apparently they found her dead body up in the roof in the water tower, whatever you call it.
Mhm.
And in this movie, there's similar scenes. There's an elevator scene,
Right.
and one girl gets pulled up into the water tower.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that maybe they heard about it and said, hey, let's use that for a basis or not? I don't know. But when we first watched this, and I didn't watch it all, I didn't watch most of it with you.
Right.
I just, for some reason, I got and we were talking about it before the even
Yes.
scene happened.
Yes.
About, have you heard about the girl, the video, the live feed of the girl in the elevator who was scared, and
Which,
they found
like,
her body.
As someone who frequents unsolved mysteries, that's like
yeah.
my jam.
Yeah, and it's one of those, what happened to this girl. They have no idea
They
what happened
never
to her.
figured it out.
They don't know how she got in there. They don't know what killed her.
Yep.
Because I don't think they said it was drowning. It was something else killed her. But they found her
Exactly.
body in there.
You're right.
And it's an unsolved mystery. It's kind of creepy what happened. Who is she
Mm-hmm.
hiding from? What was she running from?
Yes.
And they kind of get that feeling in this movie.
Yeah. You're
And
absolutely
of course,
right.
and the very ironic and weird, creepy thing is, I was talking about it before the scene happened.
You're 100% correct.
And yeah.
I know. It's just one of those things where you're like, this is kind of, even the angle. You're like, this is kind of reminiscent of something I've exactly seen before.
Yeah.
And then they must have played off of it on purpose. Because
They had to have.
it almost, but it's with two different characters, but it almost exactly replicates what
Yeah.
happened.
Yep.
And it always sort of gives me that, like, how could it be that weird? Like, there has to be something else going on. And I'm not one of those people who, like, fully believe. I'm one of those people who I need proof and backup and science and not
I'm
just a video
similar.
on the internet.
I'm
You know what I
similar.
mean? And so, like, I need evidence and research and academic studies to be like, ghosts are real. Look at this study. This is it. But at the same time, it's like, I know that the government keeps secrets, My FBI agent is all up in my grill, I'm sure. That, follows me on my computer, my Google searches. But
CIA right now is like, this thing, like, talk about us.
yeah, wait. Yes, exactly.
As the flower van across the street zooms away and
yeah.
a water, some other van replaces it.
I was saying the other day that if I ever die, I need somebody to delete my Google search history, but not for the reasons that they usually are. It's because I listen to a lot of serial killer podcasts and I always like Google the names. So my whole Google search is serial killers, like that probably wouldn't look good. So you know, just public service announcement. Oh my gosh. Well, should we, since we're already talking about it, should we get into the bridge curse?
Yes, we should definitely get into the bridge curse.
Yay! All right, so as we've talked about for 2 weeks now, today we're doing The Bridge Curse. It's a 2020 movie, as we said, it just came out, and it was directed by Lester Tsai and written by Kang-Ming Chang and Po Sang Hao. Yay!
Yay. Okay, I'm going to do the characters now because
I was going to say, just do the characters.
And then we'll talk about how we heard about all that.
Yes.
So
like we said, this is a Chinese movie, so apologies in advance for
Chinese,
a bit of...
Taiwanese.
Yes, for a bit of the butchering. We didn't mean to.
If it was Japanese, I'm better with Japanese.
Yes.
Not so much Taiwanese. So,
So excuse our poor Canadian pronunciation.
yes, I apologize in ahead. So, this lovely movie stars Dae Suan Ji, Wan Dae-ji, who's played by J.C. Lin.
Okay, so when we talk about it, he was the ex,
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
right?
Sure.
Okay,
I these names are tough.
I'm checking the IMDb at the same time. That's the ex. I'm 90% sure.
Bo Ru-meng, played by Vera Yen.
Okay, so she was the new girlfriend.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that character.
Me
She was
too.
a
She
sweetie.
was fantastic.
She was a sweetie.
Yeah, collateral damage is what we'll call her.
Shu Yu Lian, played by Ken Yu Meng.
Okay, I don't have them on IMDb.
Yeah, I think that's one that got skipped. So that one
'Kay.
might be, I don't know. That could be the bathroom guy.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
The
anyways.
pooper?
Yeah, the pooper. Sin Chao Cho, played by Nin Chang.
Okay. Oh, so she's the old girlfriend, the one with
Okay.
the long hair.
Okay,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
she was phenomenal.
She did really good in this.
Everybody in this is just, I know that we're just like really pumping it
We're
up.
gushing
like-
over so hard.
I'll put a big disclaimer before this to make sure people watch it.
Yu Ching Shi, played by Ruby Zahn.
Okay. She.
That could be the reporter.
The reporter's name is Summer. She, it looks like, was the friend, like Shang's friend, like the little girlfriend, but that had her hair pulled back. The one that was scared, the water tower lady.
Oh yes,
That's who she. Yeah,
I think she played off the best being
Yes.
scared. She totally did.
I agree.
Soon. No, it's not Soon. Song Gui Yang, played by Yu Hung Hish. Or she. Ugh. I'm sorry.
Trying real hard. I don't have that one here.
Okay, that could be the reporter. Let's see.
Sure.
That might be the reporter. Wen Yao Li, played by Cheng Ko.
Okay, so he was. It looks. What was his name again? You said in the movie.
Wen Yao.
Yeah, that's Wen Yao. So he's the guy with the glasses.
Oh, he's a glasses guy.
That's Wen
right.
Yao. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I actually called him Wen Yao in the notes because
Yes.
they're always saying his name because he disappears.
Where's Yen
first.
Lao? We
Where's
gotta find
Wen
Yen
Yao?
Lao.
Where's Wen Yao? We can't find Wen Yao.
Wen Yao, yeah.
Yeah.
And the ghost / alumna in the story is played by Ruko.
Okay.
She's the ghost.
Ooh. Yeah, I have the reporter here as Summer Mang.
No.
But she might have, that might be her, like, Western name,
Yeah.
right? Because, oh yeah, here we go. As, her real name is Kenju Meng. Is that what you had?
Sure. I already
Sure. Okay,
closed it.
so her Western name must be Summer then.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, IMDb does not give you a lot to work with, let me
No,
tell you.
and Wikipedia doesn't even exist.
But hopefully it does soon. Like, I hope that this reaches Western audiences as much as it did hopefully Eastern audiences, because I don't have any like information on it.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. Like, I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah, like Lister C, who directed, did a fantastic job, and Ken Ming Chang and Po Shang Hao, who did the writers.
Yep.
Great.
Awesome.
Really
yeah.
great job with this.
And it's only just been out for like literally a month. It came out at the end of August.
Yeah, and
so it's been out for a month.
I'm personally not a big fan of doing reviews so early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said how you don't like doing new movies right away, but I did a poll on Instagram, and that's usually people like when we do newer stuff.
Yeah, I don't like to do anything too new because I don't want to, our listeners to already get spoiled of the plot.
Right.
At least give them a chance to watch it, or
but they don't have to listen to it if they don't want to.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're like surprise new movie.
That's why I like when we do like at our end we give what's the next episode. So hey, you have a week to watch it and catch up.
Yeah,
if you want
absolutely. And this one's available on Netflix. I don't know if we already said that, but it was just released on Netflix, I think in September. So, and it's been on my list, I know, for a couple weeks. Yeah. So it must have been the beginning of September. So, or maybe it came out on August 27th when it says it was released.
I think it was August 27, 28.
Yeah.
So.
But I saw it actually in like the trailer section or the coming up section of Netflix. And I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this seems super spooky, scary. So I knew we had to watch it. But then when we watched it together a bit, and we're both big fans of like anime and manga and stuff, so I was like, maybe this would be fun, in the future. And I was like, as soon as I watched it, I was like, no, we have to do it. We have to do it now. I'm impatient.
Well, even like you put it on, I'm like, ooh, what's this? And I got interested, and it starts off with a very found footage feel to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, let's see what this is about. And as I watched with you, I kind of got more into it. It's like, Alana, this is kind of good. And you're like, I know.
Yep.
And then we got to the poopy scene.
Yep.
The poopy guy scene. And that sold me.
That's the one.
Right there, I'm like, you know what? I am 100% involved in this movie now.
Yep.
They got me.
And I was kind of cooking and baking and cleaning at the same time, so I didn't give it 100% of my attention, which I regretted immediately. But then Spaz texted you how good the ending was, and I didn't even fully understand the ending.
I woke up early, because I had work
to go to work,
But I woke up to a text like, Nick, oh my God, you have to watch it. It's so good. Crazy ending. I'm like, oh?
Ça va? Yeah, it was so, the ending just makes it worth it. And it's one of the, like we said, you really have to pay attention. And because you're reading the dubbing, and you also have, the subs, and you have to read the pictures at the same time, kind of, to like do like a string, connect the dots to what's going on.
It takes a couple of viewings really to get everything.
Yeah.
But it's worth the second viewing.
100%. I picked up on stuff in this one that I didn't obviously pick up on the first one.
Yeah.
And it was like 100% worth it to watch it again. Yeah. I really liked it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I was just looking at IMDb too, and it only has like 5.3 stars. I'm like,
that's criminal.
Me? I know. But I guarantee people won't have liked it because it was like too much or something.
Yeah, it's too much like The Ring. It's too much like The Grudge. It's not The Grudge. It's not The Ring.
Exactly. I know. It's a very Eastern horror, and
give it a shot.
Exactly. If you like different stuff, like I think the pacing makes it so worth it, and the monster in quotations ghost whatever makes it worth it. Her methods, sort of. Another thing that I loved was sorry I cut you off there. Another thing I loved was the acting, which we talked about, which when you look at, which we've talked about in Talking Chop already, but the Western acting is not as over the top as Eastern acting, and I find in these movies it's almost, this is going to sound really bizarre, but the overacting is almost more accurate, because I think people would have a fucking breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like in the water tower scene, her friend is having a breakdown.
Yeah.
Like
she curls up
has cracked. Her mind is broken.
And she just keeps repeating, I don't want to die.
Yeah, I don't want to die. You have to protect me. Please protect me.
I don't want to die.
You're promising to protect me.
Yeah.
And she's just like Like, you can see her eyes are wide, she's shaking, her fingers are, like, in her mouth. She's, like, having a breakdown.
Oh, yeah. She's at the point where you get so scared you just
Yes.
break. You can't,
Yes.
nothing else makes sense. You
Nope.
can't comprehend anything. It's just complete and utter fear.
You're
Fear
not
takes
worried
over.
about how you look, how you sound, how you feel. You're just, like, emoting fear.
Yeah.
And that's... It's
It's-
insane. It's
it's-
uncomfortable to watch. And when you're watching it and feeling uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that's good acting.
Yeah. Some people can do it. Some people can do it very, very, very well.
Yes.
And make it look actually convincing.
Yes.
And others are like,
Yeah,
just scream a lot.
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so do you want to get into our
Our-
Jimmy rigged plot?
Yeah, I'll try and do this. Our Wikipedia lack.
I was going to say it's not as good as Wikipedia because I was
No.
typing on my Bluetooth keyboard into my phone on a Google Doc. So these notes are courtesy of Alana.
Well, we'll do what we can.
Yeah, we'll fill in the blanks, sort of. Basically, what I did was like...
We'll talk about like the more impactful scenes to us,
Yes.
and we'll get a little more in depth with the curse and all that. So
Yeah, we got this.
So yeah, this movie opens on found footage.
Yes.
We have Snapchat ritual. Basically, we find out that girl died there in the 90s, 30
Yep.
years ago. She was raped. She was waiting for her boyfriend
Yep.
at the top of the steps, and on the 13th step, she was walking upstairs. 13 steps, and guys grabbed her, raped her, and killed her.
Yes.
And she pleaded, no,
Yeah.
don't do it, stop, let me go. And they just threw her in the river and she drowned.
And they dumped her body over the bridge, which is
Yeah.
why it's called the bridge curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this footage is taking place. We see the main character, who I call old girlfriend in the Google Doc. She is like live streaming on Snapchat or Instagram or
Facebook
TikTok,
or something.
one of those things where she's live streaming what they're doing. Because apparently it's like a thing where it's like almost like an initiation. I'm not
It's
entirely
tradition.
sure. Yeah, tradition.
It's tradition for their class to do that.
Yeah, we're a bunch of students.
They're
She
like
calls
college,
them juniors.
I think they're college
Yes.
students, but they're like junior college.
Exactly.
And also, so basically the rules are at midnight every night,
Yes.
if you go up the steps off the bridge, you'll
And it's
count,
on the leap year.
Well, it's every night.
Yes.
But every leap year is
Yes.
what really happens. During the day, it's 13 steps.
Right.
During the night at midnight, it's 14 steps.
Yes.
And so when you go up the steps, you're not supposed to count, because when you get to 14, you're never supposed to look back towards the bridge, or else you'll turn around and she'll be right there in front of you and kill you.
Exactly. Yes.
And those are rules. So, now you know the rules. We
Yeah.
can go with the movie. So we found out there's a reporter, and she's coming to do a live broadcast on the story because of all the students that have died.
Yes.
They
So we
died
leaped forward a few years.
Yeah, so they died, we're now in 2020.
Yep.
Was it February 27? 28?
Yes. 27th, I think, or
And,
28th. Yeah.
And she was reporting on the deaths in the year 2016.
Yes. And we find out that this reporter is kind of like she has like a stain on her record, so she got fired from her job, and now she's stuck doing these like weird sort of cases because nobody wants to listen to her
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So she's one of our main-ish characters in quotations because we jump forward to her storyline.
We follow
where
her
she-
following the story of what happened.
Exactly. Yeah, we're basically following her. Yeah, following the story, and all the other clips in the past are like CCTV footage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
So we cut back to 2016 and go to 2016.
Yeah.
And we'll explain it after. And we see the students kind of getting things ready for the prank. Like they're doing it's kind of they're also doing it into a prank. So a few of them are making a joke out of it, and they're also doing it like for serious for the credits or whatever it is. So they have like this little dummy made up
Exactly.
of like mannequin and sheets.
it's like an alien with a mannequin head on
Yeah.
it, and then a sheet sewn to the bottom.
Yeah, and we get we got our tall girl, or we gotta get these we can't do names because
Right.
they suck.
So which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about ex-girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend?
Ex-girlfriend,
Yep.
the one who's kind of
The one with long hair.
long hair,
Yep.
the long hair girl.
Yep.
So she's going to start her little live broadcast thing.
Yeah.
And she stops and she's talking to her boyfriend, and she's like, "Yo, come on, we can work this out." And he's like, "Nope, we can't."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Well, I hope you go to hell."
Yep.
So she's a little butthurt about this.
Exactly.
And they meet up with the others, and they all meet at the bridge for that night. And they got the guy in the glasses.
Yeah, Wen Yao.
He's the one who's doing the stunt
The prank.
itself. Yeah.
Him and her friend, who I just call her friend, are the two that are in on the prank. So they show it kind of setting up where he's going to walk to the top of the stairs, and then she's standing underneath this long-haired alien ghost thing, and she jumps out at him.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be the, scary broadcast, stuff is happening thing.
Yeah, so you can see the ghost. Oh,
Yes.
it really happened.
Exactly.
So he's sitting in the chair, and he's got they kind of got things kind of planned out. So when he hears the bells ring tied to the chair, he's supposed to stand up, take off the blindfold, and walk up the steps.
Yes.
And they tell him, don't count. That's part of the curse. Don't do that. He's like, okay. So he does that, starts walking, and as he's walking, he starts counting.
Yep.
And the ones recording, like, why is he counting? Don't count, don't count. And long-haired girl, she's like, no, it's more interesting this way. Just let him do his thing.
Yeah, just let him do it,
Yeah.
and she's recording,
And the other, one of the girls, she tries to stop. She's like, no, we gotta stop him. So she runs up, and he goes up, and he's counting. He gets, 14. And just as he does that, the others get up behind him, and they kind of turn around. Like, that doesn't count right. And all of a sudden, the mannequin flies in at him, and they get scared, and they drop the phone.
Yeah.
And they all take off.
Yeah.
And he's standing there laughing like, haha, I got you guys. And someone calls him and tells him basically, don't forget to pick up the phone, clean everything up. We'll meet us back
Yeah,
at...
grab all the camera equipment. You're a jerk.
Yeah.
That chair trick was hilarious.
Yes. And he's like, chair trick? I didn't do that. And you see a chair behind him, which made him run, was the chair was moved around a bit.
Yeah.
And it flew around and flew off. And he drops his phone because it rings. He kind of startles him. And he almost turned around. He's like, that doesn't count, right? So the phone's ringing, so he's backing down the steps backwards, not looking backwards.
Yep.
And he gets to the bottom, and the light goes out.
Yes.
And he's like, Siri, light.
Yeah.
Bright as you can.
Yeah.
And
The brightest you can.
Yeah. And he does that first, and then it gets dark again, like something put his hand over top.
Yes.
And he's like, Siri, I can't see you. And he backs up.
And we can kind of see this happening because we can see his phone gets really bright and he's like, oh, thank goodness, and starts trying to reach around for the phone and follow it with his, obviously by not looking back. And then we see this, figure sort of cover it up. And he's like, Siri, brighter, Siri, brighter.
How about max brightness?
Yeah, I'm at max brightness. And he's like, ugh, and he keeps trying to reach for it. And then he finally gets his hand on it. Something else puts its hand on him.
Yeah. Then he screams and
then
he
goes,
disappears.
"Wee!" Yeah.
So we cut. So we get back to students walking back to dorms. The girls, X, and one of the other girls have an affairish thing going on. We find out that tall guy
Yep.
and short girl are having an affair.
Yes.
It's got a less affair, more of a fling.
Yeah, so that's why I called him Ex and New Girlfriend, because they kind of sort of explain it throughout, but it's basically he kind of broke up with his old girlfriend and sort of let her go easy and maybe something can happen in the future, give me some time, I'll figure it out, we'll both be in a better place, all that kind of bullshit that everybody says.
Yeah.
But, he didn't actually intend it, and he's seeing this new girl. And he's, saying, we have to keep it under wraps because I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to hurt my old girlfriend, we weren't meant to be.
Yeah, I didn't really end it the best way. And she's like,
exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And they go find Glasses
Yao.
guy, Wen
Yeah.
Yao. And you see her kind of pop out. You see,
Yeah.
see long hair girl X. She's like, well, fuck you then.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
And then she acts, we cut to her and her friend in the room, and she's acting kind of distant, well, I'm probably going to go to karaoke later, and her friend's like, but it's so late. And she's like, don't worry, I'll be back, and she's just acting weird, and you're like, well, obviously, because she just saw her boyfriend, whatever in quotations, kind of whatever they are, basically saying, I don't like this girl anymore, and we're together, but we can't tell anybody. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Poor girl. So you kind of understand where she's coming from, but whatever. And they're pissed about Wen Yao. And they're texting the pooper guy.
Yeah, and also their door opens all of a sudden. Suddenly, what the heck?
Yeah.
This stupid door, though. They're making a bit more pranks on us, and they close it. And we go to Pooping Guy.
Yay!
He's in the bathroom. He's having some very graphic poops.
Yes.
So
Oh my gosh.
He's having a good time in there.
That IBS, she's a fickle mistress,
Yeah.
I tell you.
And he's like watching a video too, and then here's like a banging on the side, another door. So he's yelling at him. He's peeking underneath.
Yeah, he's like, they're all gross. Like, don't bother looking for a clean one because they're all dirty.
Yeah. And like he looks down second time, back up, and you see there's like shoes
Yes.
next to him.
Yep.
And he hears more bang, hears weird sounds next to him. He's like, what the heck? I'll take a picture. So he puts his phone underneath the stall, takes a picture, and something grabs his phone in his hand. He's like trying to pull it back, and he finally gets free, pulls his pants up, jumps out. He's like, what the hell are you doing? Get out of here. And then all the faucets are then running.
Yes.
And they're plugged and they're overflowing.
Yeah.
He's like, what the heck? So he goes and he's turning them all off. And as he's doing so, his one little lucky charm bracelet.
Yes, his like protection medallion thing.
It falls into the sink.
Yep, one of the sinks.
Yeah.
So he goes to pick it up.
And he pulls out this long
Huge
chunk
clump
of hair. He's like, ugh.
Blah, blah.
And he starts to drain out. He's like, crap, my medallion thing. So he's looking at it, he's underneath, thinking if he pulls the pipe out, it'll come out. Is not how it works.
I know.
But as he's doing that, we see these feet drop down behind him.
Yes.
And he's like, you got sheets hanging. They're just really
It
cool
is
theme.
one of the creepiest effects in this movie.
And he looks back, and there's nothing there. He's like, okay, whatever. That's weird.
Yep.
And then there's a bucket kind
Yep.
of rolls around and flips up.
And it rolls around a couple times as he's moving around the rooms of the restroom. And it's just kind of like, oh, whatever. You just assume that it's a ghost knocking this bucket over. But every time he enters the room, this bucket follows him.
Yeah.
This bucket it's a bad bucket.
Yeah. So he goes over and looks in. There's like black liquid, and he sees a reflection in there. Like
Yes.
over his shoulder. He looks back, and it's just an empty tile.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
nothing.
Right.
And he looks back, and a hand reaches up, grabs him, pulls him face first into the bucket,
Yes.
drowning him.
Yeah. Like, and he is like flailing and fighting, but
Yep.
cannot get his head out of this bucket.
No. Just
Ugh.
dead. Dead.
Yes.
So the reporter, back to the reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds out the 5 people have died every leap year.
Yes.
And she's going through the camera footage, and she sees a girl in the background. She's like, "Who's that?
Yeah.
What is that? I think I found something. This is big news."
Yep. It's like, oh my god, this actually might not be, a scummy story. Like, something might actually be happening here.
Yeah.
So
back to the bridge.
Yep.
Tall guy and new girl.
Yep.
Go to look at for Wen Yu.
Yes.
And all their equipment is still there on the bridge, along with Wen Yu's phone.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, he didn't even clean up. What the heck? And they find the phone. It's got this black water kind of muck on
Yuck
it.
stuff all over it, yeah.
And they're like, well, he's not here. Where'd he go? Let's go check the CCTV cameras.
Exactly.
And she's like, okay, we'll do that.
Because
So-
this is, I'm assuming they say it's a Chinese movie, so I'm assuming
Yeah.
it's China, obviously, and they have CCTV footage all over. So just, they're just cameras. In North America here, we don't have them, but it's basically cameras set up all
Canada.
over the city,
Canada,
sort of.
we don't have it. I know
Right.
the States they do.
Do they?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I thought it was
Some-
only
some-
like a European
Some
thing.
big cities and states, they have the cameras all over.
Interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's basically, just cameras set up at like major intersections, outside of stores, busy places.
Yeah.
Or like this bridge is like a touristy attraction-y thing, so they have CCTV footage.
Yeah.
So, and same with their college or dorms or whatever
Exactly,
they
yeah.
ran. Yes.
So we get the reporter. She's doing the same thing. She's watching old footage of them leaving and entering the dorm. And she's counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, there's 5 of them. Who are they? What happened? What's going on?
Yes.
And she tells the cameraman, the people are here. Go talk to them. We'll be right back.
Yep.
And as you see him leave, the color kind of changes dark, and we see the tall guy and the little girl, the short girl,
Right.
come into CCTV camera area, and they're looking.
Yeah.
And looking at the same time.
Exactly.
And back in the dorm, the two girls,
Yes.
long-haired girl and best friend.
Yep.
Long-haired girl has to go pee very badly.
Like so bad. Like she is pacing.
Yeah.
Which like we've all felt that.
She's doing the Tinkle Trot.
Yes. And they're waiting
And-
for the pooping guy to come back so they can just kind of all be together.
Yeah.
And
She can't hold it.
Yeah, she can't. She's like, I have to go right now. She's like, will you come with me? And her best friend's like, ugh, fine. But then she pulls her phone out and she's like recording her and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I'm recording you because I'm always the scared one and now you're scared.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah.
And so they go to the bathroom, and they kind of get split up. The short one disappears, the other one goes
Yes.
and does her business. And while she's in there, she hears more weird sounds,
Yep.
and she gets freaked out. And the other girl shows up, and she goes, "Boo! I scared you! Haha!" He's like, "I thought you were in the bathroom. What the heck?" He's like, "No, I didn't even come in here." So, well, who's in the stall? So they go, and the young girl with the camera picks it out, like goes and checks it out.
Yep.
And she screams and then pulls the camera back out to show the reaction of long hair girl. And
Yes.
is laughing like, haha, I got you. And she's like, that's not funny at all.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And she goes to leave, but
The best
the
friend.
long hair girl leaves. And everyone's like, oh, hang on, I'll come too. And she gets like this muck on her hand.
Black, sticky, yucky stuff all over her hand.
And
yeah.
she goes and tries to wash it off.
Yep.
And so back at the security room, and we got the tall guy and new girl,
Yep.
and they're looking at the footage, and she's like, "Wait a minute, what was that?" He's like, "What?" And she keeps going to go from his left shoulder to right shoulder, back and forth, and as she
Yes.
does, she sees someone in the mirror, in the camera getting closer, until you get right, the last scene, you get the face right up.
Yes.
Against.
Right in the camera.
Yeah,
and she
she
screams.
screams. She
Yeah.
screams, backs up. He's like, "What?" And he doesn't see a thing.
No.
He does not see a darn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, let's get out of here. So back to the bathroom. The girl's trying to get all the crap off her hand,
Yep.
and she hears something, and it's the pooping guy's body. He's been kind of possessed.
This is scary. This scene is scary, and I do not say those words lightly. But the way he's standing there, his arms kind of sort of up, and he's sort of at an angle. Like his body is just, you can tell from a distance that something is not right.
Yeah.
And he's kind of darkened, like you can't see his face. You can just see like his plaid shirt that he always wears and his shorts. And he's just kind of standing there with his arm kind of weirdly up in an awkward move, and he's just kind of standing there, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? You finally came back. Like, what are you doing in here?" And obviously he doesn't answer, and she's like, okay, and doesn't really know what to do, so she just kind of, and then he slowly starts moving towards her, and now she can tell something's not right.
She
because
runs.
He's kind of
and
making these, I don't even know how to describe the movements. They're very isolated movements. Like a
almost
zombie almost.
like on strings.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a puppeteer and some guys on strings.
And then he fucking rushes her.
Yeah.
Runs
and
right
she turns
at her.
and runs, and she's getting the F out of there.
Yes. And you see his face for a split second, and there's black veins all over his face. He's got white eyes. It's creepy, super creepy.
Yeah. So
and it's only for a split second you see it.
Yeah, she kind of bails. She just
Yeah.
gets out of there.
Yeah, she's like, no fucking way.
So now we're in the back to the tall guy and new girl in the elevator going to fourth floor.
Yep.
And there's whatever, and the door open again. It's like, whoa, we're doing. It says B1. And that's where we just went up a couple of floors.
Yeah.
And so they hit 4 again. And it starts going up, and it stucks on 2.
3.
And the light.
Oh, it kind of clicks on 2 and then moves to 3 and then doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just goes black.
Yes.
And she's like, what the heck is going on? And then she's kind of cuddled up back to him. There's a mirror in the elevator. And she looks behind her, and there's in the corner the ghost.
Yeah, she's
And
like,
she's
hey.
like, I'm out. And you see them, push out, and they're out. I don't care what floor is on,
And
we
they
get out.
run. They book it.
They only go so far, then they stop, and,
Yep.
and why are you so scared? Don't you believe me? Yes, I believe you, but I didn't see anything.
Yes.
And she's like, well, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And as they leave, the elevator doors close, and the lights just come on.
Flicker
at the
back
end,
on. Yeah.
And you see the ghost in the elevator as the doors close.
It's the thing that I love about this movie is everything happens in the background. Nothing happens in the forefront.
Yeah.
Everything is one of those things where you have to really be watching at all times.
Or you think, after, did I see something? I thought I saw something. I'm not sure.
Which is exactly the feeling that all these characters have.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And we're back to the reporter, and she's in the dorm rooms of where the students were,
Yes.
and it stinks.
Yes.
Both of them. She goes into one, like, I can't, it's stinky in here. And she goes across, and she's like, oh, it's terrible. And she finds this little, what do you call it? Like, there's a certain term for it.
Yeah, there is. I can't even think of it off the top of my head.
Not a scroll, not a pendant.
And this scene, actually, that we're watching is happening concurrently with the long-haired girl back in time. So we're watching, they keep flipping back and forth to the reporter and to the long-haired girl in 2016. And we're flipping back and forth. So so while she's walking, and it's literally happening at the same time. So as she's moving from 414, which is their dorm room, to 416 across the hall, then we flip back and see the long-haired girl doing exactly the same thing. Because she went back to the dorm room looking for her friend, and her friend's not there. But then she sees 416, like some movement or something, so she decides to investigate across the hall. So the reporter does the same thing. They walk in across the hall. And then in the 416, we see, she finds, I think, her phone and this scrolly thing. And then she's like, well, that's weird.
Talisman.
See,
Yeah,
and that's what I was going to say is talisman, but I'm like, we just called the other thing a talisman. But
It's also
more
known
like,
as an ofudo.
Okay.
Ofuda.
Okay.
Also called shinsatsu, go shinsatsu, or shimpu.
Cool.
It's placed on household Shinto altars and revered both as a symbol of the shrine's deity or deities,
Right.
indeed containing the kami's essence or power by virtue of its consecration, and a medium through which the kami in question can be accessed by the worshipper, or it's to bind.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yes. So I think it was the other just like as a keep away. You know.
Right.
But whatever.
So she kind of sort of hears, something kind of moves in the top bunk of the dorm room, this 416 that they're in. So she starts climbing the ladder to get up to the top bunk, and something grabs her leg, or tries to grab her leg. So she runs up to the top of the bunk, and it's just a bunch of blankets. So she covers herself in the blanket.
Yeah, she hears the ghost coming up the steps.
And then sees
after
the
her.
ghost, yeah. So she covers up, and she's like, no, which is like the oldest trick in the book, like to hide under blankets. So she hides, and she's like, okay, we're fine, And she kind of like pulls her face down a bit. The flashlight's still underneath the covers. She pulls the covers down a bit to reveal her face, and she looks, and there's nothing there. And then we see, and she feels black stuff.
Yeah, like the
dripping,
water, whatever it is, dripping on her.
Dripping onto her face. And she looks up, and the ghost is right there screaming at her.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then we flip to current day, and the reporter looks up in that top bunk, and there's like a human, like, not cut out, but like a form, basically, burnt into the top of the ceiling.
There's like a stain.
Yeah, like a water stain.
It's just right where the ghost was. She's like, well, that's weird.
And it's super creepy because you see the long black hair is, it's creepy. So then we see her running, and she's trying to get out of this 416. She's banging on the door, and her best friend comes along.
She jumps off the bed
Yes.
and kind of hurts her leg.
Oh my god. Ladies, she's wearing heels, and she does a thing where when you're walking and your ankle gives out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It hurts.
So she does that, and she's trying to open the door. Her friend shows up. She's screaming, trying to open the door.
Yep.
Door gets opened, and they book.
They book it.
Run out.
Yeah, they're like, none of that.
So we're back in the classroom. Tall guy and new girl still looking for Wen Yao.
Exactly. Yeah, they're still looking for this
Yao,
guy.
Yeah, and he's looking to like the mannequin room.
Yes.
And he thinks he tells her, wait in the room or wait outside. I'll be right back.
Yeah, because he's trying to protect her and whatnot.
Yeah, and she's scared, and he thinks he saw Wen Yu, so he goes around the other exit, and while he's doing that, she goes in.
Yep.
And he chases off after Wen Yu, and she snoops around. Mannequins start coming alive and trying to grab her.
Ugh, this is another super creepy scene.
And then the ghost herself appears and chases after her and grabs her.
Yep.
But tall guy he grabs the girl and pulls her out, and they run.
They run. They book it. Yep.
Yeah, they run. So you then go to the two friends,
Yep.
long hair girl and other girl, on this. They're running up the stairs or
Yep.
running down the stairs, and they're not getting very far.
No.
It keeps going. It says like 3/2.
Yep.
They're going in circles.
And then the camera pans over, and it's in it going on and on and on staircase. I forget the name. Infinity staircase, basically.
Yeah.
It never ends. They're stuck on between the third and the second floor.
Yeah.
Like there's no going back.
Yeah. So the young one, the little one, she freaks out. It's like, I have to get out of here. We are gone. So
We
they
have
run
to go
out
now.
and they get out to the roof and they close the door. The little one, she's at her breaking point. She goes,
Yes.
she basically crouches and sits down, knees up to her chest. She's wrapped around by the water tower, and she's not moving. And she's like, I don't want to die. You gotta protect me. Keep me safe. I don't want to die.
And this is the part that we were talking about before, where her acting is just like sublime.
Yeah, she is scared. I believe she is scared.
Yes.
That is great acting. And long hair girl, she's like, I'll try and find a way to get down. So she's looking around the edge. Nope, can't go that way. Looks the other way. Oh, this might work. And this is a good little bit of camera angle where
Yep.
the camera, when she looks down, the camera is looking up at her.
Yes.
When she kind of looks back to her friend, the camera slides up and looks over her shoulder. She then does it again, the camera goes back down, and then up again. And when she does the second time, there's the ghost.
Yes.
And just screams at her. And she freaks out. And it lunges at her, too.
Yes.
And she kind of just basically backflips off the roof.
Yes. Parkour.
And is gone.
Yeah.
And the other one, she's freaking out. Like,
Yep.
she doesn't know what to think.
She's all alone now.
She hears clangs up around her on the water tower. She has her flashlight going behind her. Nope. And she pulls back around, and there's hair in front of her. And the hands grab her, and she gets pulled up into the water bin.
Yes.
Similar to the one we're talking about, the girl in Vancouver.
The Vancouver girl. Yep.
And we hear her basically scream and drown.
Gurgle and drown. Yeah.
It's like she pulls her under, and she gets to surface, screams, under again, surface, screams, and then, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And then we're back to... where did I go here? I got lost.
This movie jumps around a bit, so that's why we had to
Yeah.
have some sort of like a looking around, like synopsis, because it's easier to follow when you're watching it, but when you're reading it, it's like, and then what happened?
Yeah. Here we go. Okay, so back to Reporter, and she kind of she's into the classroom, like the homeroom, I guess, of them. And
Yep.
she's going through all like the death reports of the kids who were killed
Yes.
4 years ago.
Yep.
And suddenly some like glass shatters.
Yes.
Like, pictures, and she's like, "What the heck?" And she goes and checks them out.
Yeah, and
she's also figured out that there's so she's also looking
Yes.
more video, and it's like, why is there 6 people? 5 people were reported dead, but there's a 6th person. We gotta
Yes.
find who the 6th person is. Who is this?
Yeah.
So back to the campus, tall guy, new girlfriend. They find the old girlfriend and follow her.
Yeah, she's got her flashlight on, and she's like, like standing in the stairwell, and she's like, let's get out of here.
This way.
And they're like, okay. And they start running after her, thinking that they're escaping.
following her, and then the girl realizes, we're going back to the bridge. We can't do that. This is bad.
Yeah.
And as they turn around, the girlfriend gets basically just pulled out of nowhere.
Just
and is
flies.
She
Yes.
is flung towards the bridge.
Yep.
And screams. She does that.
Yes.
And then we do a little of, we find the old long-haired girl. She's laying there on like
it's like a scaffolding,
yes,
basically.
thank you, yeah, scaffold. And she kind of rolls off that, and painfully, more fun for her.
Yes.
And she finds her friend on the bridge.
Yes.
And she's like, "Yo, you were supposed to protect me. You were gonna save me." And her voice changes from like her voice to this dark, guttural, evil voice,
like echoey sort of yucky.
And this
voice.
is where she does the titters, the laugh, and you see like the hands crawl up behind her, and yeah, they just kind of pull her away, and then they start doing that to the long hair girl.
Yeah, and she's trying to climb up the stairs.
Yeah,
and grab her phone, and it drops, and she gets pulled back.
Yeah, and she gets dragged down the stairs.
Yeah, And this is the part where you all start, where we're like, wait a second. Didn't she, like, wasn't she just alive, like, 1 second ago? And then we saw this, and, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to reporter. She's trying to figure out who the sixth person is. And as she's going through, she figures out, well, wait a minute. Because she takes, like, the pictures that fell down, and she's looking at them like, why is this saying 2012? And this says 2016.
Yeah.
And this one girl's in both pictures.
Yes. So she's
What's
reporting on the
going
2016,
on?
like, culty stuff.
Yeah.
The whatever. And but the long-haired girl is in the 2016 one and also in the 2012 one.
So she did this twice.
Yes. So she's like, why would they do this ritual twice? Why would she be a part of it more than once?
Yeah.
And she's like the only person that's the same. And so when you start looking at these two pictures, you're like, oh, something's not right.
Yeah.
So we see in the 2016 picture, there is, I wrote it down. There's the new girlfriend. So the new girlfriend, obviously, the tall guy, so her ex, and then Wen Yao, who's the guy that actually was in the bridge scene.
Yeah.
And then the other two people are dressed similar to, like, the pooper and her best friend, but they're not the same people.
Those are different people.
They're different people. And then she's looking at the 2012, and we see the pooping guy and her best friend, but the other two people, while looking similar to her ex and his new girlfriend, are not them.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's bizarre, and you're like, hold up.
Yeah. and we can't do it justice. They do a very good job explaining things in the movie.
Yes, they
show
do it.
timelines, they show everyone, and it
Time-stamped,
makes
everything
so
is
much more
time-stamped.
sense.
Yes.
Took me a couple tries, but I finally got it. So, back to the bridge. The possessed old girlfriend, long-haired
so like
girl.
the long-haired girl,
Yeah, she basically has the new one by her throat, and
and she's making her choke herself.
Yes, she makes sure, and she kind of lifts herself up in the air, and we see behind her is the ghost.
Yes.
And her hands go around her face and start crushing her. And
this black gooey stuff comes out. Yeah.
And she's saying, the long-haired girl's repeating, protect me, you're going to keep me safe, to tall guy, and he books, he leaves. He's like, no, I can't do this, I'm out of here. He runs. And he gets caught up with, they catch him.
Yep, he gets cornered.
And he's like, please don't kill me. Please, please, please don't kill me. I don't want to die.
I'll do anything.
And
that's like famous last words.
Yeah. And she's like, I did the same thing. And finally we go cut to her. She gets dragged down the steps, and she's basically, begging and pleading, please don't kill me. I'll do whatever you want. Please, please, please don't kill me.
Yeah.
And find out that the long-haired girl made a deal with the ghost.
Yes.
So as long as she brings 5 more victims for next leap year, she gets to live.
Yep.
And she kind of tells, and we'll go back to the tall boyfriend guy, and they tell him, basically, if you want to survive, take her spot.
Yep, because 5 people have to die.
Yes.
There's no exceptions.
Yes. So here's a brick, bash her skull in, or the ghost kills you. Make a choice.
Exactly.
And we don't see him make a choice until the reporter, who is looking at the people, she kind of, she sees, there's 5 people in this picture, why is there only 5? And she clicks on it and zooms in, and there's the tall boyfriend taking the picture. And son of a bitch, he is also the cameraman.
Yeah.
For the reporter.
Yep. So he's been coming in and giving exposition. And he's always in the background, sort of like, hey, why did this happen? What do you think this was all about? And and I accidentally, while we were watching, I was like, this camera guy seems off, because I didn't remember from the first time watching through that he ended up being T. And so I was like, this camera guy, like, something's off about him, because he has no emotion in his voice, nothing. He's just kind of like vibing.
He's very
her.
kind of monotone about everything.
But somehow asks all the right questions at the right times, talks like he knows what's going on, and so you're just like, whatever, he's just good at his job, obviously. Oh, no.
No. Well,
he's a tall guy. Yeah, he is also good at his job.
Yeah.
So, if you ever need to move up and get a promotion, just be possessed.
So we see then the ghost kind of crawl up and go after the reporter.
Yes,
And then
he attacks her.
Yeah, and then we cut to the bridge, and he's got the other...
The new 5 people.
Yeah, I don't know if they're reporters or whoever, but they started going up the steps, counting, and he's there with the camera watching, just smiles.
Yes.
And then we get credits.
And then I didn't watch past this.
And then after credits, we see reporter, she's tied up.
Yep.
Duct tape on her mouth, she's still alive. And we see him walk in and kneel down. He's like, I want your help to break the cycle. And then we cut to black. So
that means we might get a number 2, which makes me so happy because I love this movie.
This is really good. And the end. So
yeah, and that's the end.
Yes.
The end.
So this was the bridge curse.
Yes. Nick, what would you rate it?
This is a good old 4.
Interesting. Good.
3.5, 4.
Yeah.
It got a lot of things right. The only thing I wish there was a little different look of the ghost.
Yeah,
But
right. You talked about that. Yeah.
other than that, this was very well done.
Yes.
It got me thinking because it got me stumped on how the whole timeline works. But to go into that detail and I didn't pick it up.
No.
I did not pick up a
Not
damn
a
thing
sniff.
until the end. I'm like, what the heck?
That it's 2 separate years. The backwards footage we're watching is 2 separate events. The only constant is a long-haired girl. And you don't even think about it because she's wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
But then when you start thinking, you're like, okay, but when we saw the other people, like anytime they're at the bridge or have like a group shot, the 2 people who aren't main characters, their back is always turned. And you don't even think about it until you realize what's happening and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
And I love that. Movies that do that, it's just pièce de résistance.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Mwah. Yeah, I would probably give it like a 4.5, if not a 5. It's just so perfect. It's exactly what I wanted, and it actually gave me the heebie-jeebies, which is so hard for a movie to do these days because I'm so desensitized to horror.
And for the movie itself, there's little to no gore.
No.
There's a bit of CGI with the ghost and the effects, but other than that, though, it's all good.
Yes.
There's no violence. There's no sex. It's very, very PG. But for being PG, it worked so well.
Terrifying. Yes. Yeah, I really appreciate
It shows
that.
you don't need to have all that extra to make a horror movie.
Yes.
Does it help? Of course it does.
Always.
But it's not the most needed thing.
It doesn't ruin it, if you don't have that kind of stuff. Like, it's just a different kind of horror movie, I think. And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good, if you're going to have a young one start with horror, maybe not 11-year-olds, but maybe 15. Because I get on Facebook, people like, oh, my kid's 11 or 12, they're getting into horror. What should we watch? And I throw my usual Tremors, Beetlejuice, just the usual, the tamer ones.
Start with the older stuff, definitely.
Yeah. But this one is they want to kind of step up and test their mettle, and they think, oh, I'm not scared of anything. Have them try this one.
Yeah. Yes, it's there's no gore, like you said, or sex or anything, so it's very scary. That being said, it's very scary. Yeah. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And Ichabod's kill the flick, even though she's snoring here.
Yeah.
She couldn't decide between 2 kills. Her one of them was definitely had to be the bucket scene.
Yeah.
Which was so well done, just so suspenseful, and the pacing was fantastic.
How they kept adding on to it and adding on. I had time with this time because I thought it was 10 minutes of just build. It's 6 minutes, but still, it felt like 10.
Yes,
and
that's such a good scene.
And that's so good.
And the second one that had to be done was we had to do the water tower one.
Yeah, the girl was so scared.
Acting.
She acted so perfectly with that, and just her reaction, her death was very. You don't see anything, but you hear it.
Yes.
And it's also reminiscent of the live death in
Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
Yeah.
Which I thought that's interesting.
Terrifying. And next week, we are super switching gears and we're watching Beetlejuice.
Is that next week?
Listen, I'm staring at it right now.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
I love Beetlejuice.
I have never watched it all the way through.
Fuck off.
I'm 100% serious.
How far have you got up to?
I don't remember. I don't remember anything that happens in it except say Beetlejuice 3 times. I genuinely don't even remember what it's about. I think Winona Ryder's in it.
Yep.
And that's all I know.
We got
I
a
know that there's
Baldwin.
one scene, and I don't remember if it's the first one or the second one.
There's only one.
Okay.
And a cartoon.
So it's in the first one, and they all get possessed and do like a dance around a dinner date table. And the reason I know that scene is because there's a slot machine in Vegas that I love. And that's it. That's literally all I know about Beetlejuice.
We also get the lovely Catherine O'Hara stars
Yes,
in it.
I know. Yeah, the Home Alone lady.
And
yeah.
Michael Keaton.
Yes,
Like
he
this-
plays
this-
Beetlejuice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This movie is loaded with talent. And
Yeah.
it shows.
Well, anybody who can play Batman and Beetlejuice, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So that'll be a joy.
I'm now excited. I'm excited for next week.
Yay!
I want to watch it now. Let's do it now.
Well, listen, sir. And thank you so much for joining us this week. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer, Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at Gasm Horror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week because we have such sights to show you. Plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience. Bye!
Later.